Deshaun Watson was a late scratch for last week's game. Browns have a bye week this week, so they won't be playing. But people are a little surprised because it certainly sounded like Deshaun Watson was going to play. And then all of a sudden, he doesn't. His backup gets in there, looked miserable. But now more information has come out because after the game, Kevin Stefanski revealed that it wasn't that he couldn't go. He just didn't feel like going. And for Browns fans that are already frustrated with Deshaun Watson and his $50 million guaranteed this season, they had a little bit of a problem with that. And this has led to people getting upset, not just in the locker room, but also in the fan base. Why Browns' Deshaun Watson reportedly aggravated teammates. Well, it's because of this. Did Deshaun Watson do permanent damage with Browns teammates? Some Cleveland Browns players weren't thrilled that Deshaun Watson sat after telling them he would play all week. Leading up to the Browns' Week 4 contest with the Ravens, Deshaun Watson was adamant he would suit up and play despite a shoulder injury. However, when Sunday rolled around, the team announced Dorian Thompson-Robinson would make his first career start. Cleveland wound up losing the game in horrific fashion, and it appeared Kevin Stefanski was frustrated. Not only did he admit it was Watson's decision to sit, but he then praised David Njoku for playing despite suffering burns to his face and hands over the weekend. And that's when we got this tweet. Kevin Stefanski said Deshaun Watson was medically cleared to play and that it was his call. He said Watson knows his body best and felt like he couldn't go. Rightly so, his teammates are fucking frustrated. If the doctor says you can go and you say, I'm just a little uncomfortable, I don't feel like playing today. Well, you got other guys, a lot of injured guys that are going out there and doing their best to get cleared by the doctors just to play. But not Deshaun Watson. He's got that big guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
And now look at the narrative that's going on with Browns fans. They're already pissed with Deshaun Watson because of the suspension, because of the poor play in the beginning. Now look at some of this. If Deshaun Watson was medically cleared and Stefanski says it wasn't pain tolerance, then what was it? I'm genuinely asking confused. Well, he was a bitch. We know that. It's called $50 million guaranteed. He doesn't give a fuck. Wild horses couldn't have dragged Baker Mayfield off the field, but Deshaun Watson was literally like, nah, I'm good. A couple years ago, I flew all the way to Cleveland to watch a one-armed Baker Mayfield get willingly shelled by the Cardinals for 4 straight quarters.
Yep.
Wait, Watson sat himself. How do you do this as a quarterback and expect your team to still back you? Baker Mayfield was better for Cleveland than Deshaun Watson ever will be. This is not good for Deshaun Watson. Maybe he just needed a shoulder rub or something. I don't know.
He needed a tuggy or something. But in 2021, man, Baker Mayfield literally played half of the season with a fucked up shoulder. And they're right. You couldn't take him off the field. That dude, he just loves the game and he just loves competing. Where Deshaun Watson, they have a point. He's got this fully guaranteed contract. He missed, nearly the entire first season that he was in Cleveland just because he was suspended. And now, this is his first year fully back, and we're not even 6 games into the season, and he's already like, you know what? I don't feel like it.
Yeah, and especially when you then have interviews like this from Baker Mayfield that's going out. Like, let's see if I can find the right spot in this. Pat McAfee obviously does a lot of setup. Right? I fucking hate Twitter videos sometimes. Not X videos. X videos are cool. I hate Twitter videos. Let's go right here.
Feel a moment in time, you don't have to say exactly when it was, where you knew maybe this wasn't going to be my forever home. And what was it from the outside looking in? We're very confused by it all.
Because he talks about how, Baker actually got him to a playoff victory and shit like this. And obviously there were ups and downs, but left very confused as to what happened in Cleveland.
I'll let you know that.
I think I'm still confused too.
Makes sense.
No, I think towards the end there, I played 2021 with a pretty much torn apart shoulder, and I was excited to be, get the surgery, get healthy, and get another shot to try and get back to that 2020 form. But that wasn't their plan, and I'm a firm believer everything happens for a reason. Now, the roller coaster I went on after that was a little bit nuts for me.
And I went to Carolina. Now seems like he's found a home in Tampa that I think they're pretty happy with him.
Oh yeah.
But,
remember, he went to Carolina. They didn't perform that well. They cleaned house. They traded him. They traded McCaffrey, and they're like, fuck it, we're starting over. And he went to the Rams, and then he had that one. As soon as they traded him, because Stafford was out, Wolford, their backup, he was out too. He had like a day and a half to prepare to start for the Rams that he just got traded to, and they beat the Raiders. I think it was on a Monday Night Football, or maybe it was Sunday night. I don't know. He went in there and beat the Raiders on 1.5 days prep. And I mean, that was amazing. I mean, he didn't play well the rest of the season for the Rams, but when he did play, but that one outing was pretty impressive, and he's had a fantastic year. He's had a fantastic year so far for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, he has. And Tampa Bay's got weapons,
Yep.
And that defense is healthier than they were last year for Tom Brady. So they got to feel good. Baker's got to feel good looking back at Cleveland, at the fans there that are, calling for him. And I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield's a top-tier quarterback at all. But what I am saying is that I do think Baker Mayfield fits that team in terms of attitude, in terms of that fan base. I'm from Indiana. I know people from that area of Ohio. It's Midwest. Baker Mayfield is that kind of guy where he is going to, he could come out there in a fucking wheelchair and try to get up and play for you. And that's the kind of heart you want for a guy that's leading your team. Deshaun Watson doesn't seem like he has that. Deshaun Watson is a guy who would willingly sit out instead of playing for your team to force a trade. And then obviously we know all the other stuff that happened. I don't really even care too much about all the other stuff when it comes to Deshaun Watson. I care way more about what happens on the field and his leadership qualities and stuff like that. And right now, it seems like for fans and teammates, Deshaun Watson is pissing everybody off right now.